What's up, everybody? Welcome to Flux Harmonic. This is David Wilson. A little bit different today. Maybe it looks a little bit different. Everything will be explained. But it's interesting being back on Flux Harmonic right now because I'm actually on both channels at the same time. We're multi-streaming to both System Crafters and Flux Harmonic. And the main reason being is that I want to sort of make an announcement about what I'm going to be doing. And I felt like it made sense to stream this on the actual channel where people watch things before I start switching over to the other channel where people haven't watched things in a very long time and didn't really watch things very much anyway. So good to know, or at least good to have a way to sort of bridge the gap here. But hello to the folks who are here so far. Let me see what's going on over on the YouTube side. Hello to Auntie, Summer Emacs, Big Edie, Null Bath, Glenn, Apurv, and whomever else is around. Probably the folks in the IRC will be coming through in a moment here. But yeah, look at this. Look at this tasty yellow splotchy background. I'm gonna work on that. This is something I made like a couple of years ago, and I haven't gotten back to polishing it up yet. But I think it's kind of cool. It's different. It's different than the old System Crafters look. But as you can tell, I've got the old sort of System Crafters soundtrack playing because I don't really have anything to replace it with yet, except for Spotify. I don't really feel like fooling with that right now due to the licensing issues that may come up with playing things that are supposed to be royalty free. The Venerable and Ancient Tree Beard. Thank you so much. I feel so loved and cared for being called old. It's really nice. Almost, says Auntie. Almost what? Oh, Twitch is loading. Almost. Got it. Commercial break in progress. Okay, he doesn't even hear me right now. Yeah, but it's cool, trying this whole thing out again. We'll talk about it in a moment. Say a little bit more about what we're doing here. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Yeah, where's Trev? Trev's supposed to be here, okay? He's the #1 contributor to Sigil. He should be here, shouldn't he? He's also trying to create the first crypto rug pull in my name, which is great, I have to say. Huge changes again ahead. This is not really that huge. I mean, it just looks different, doesn't it? Okay. We're not gonna be like just rambling for 40 minutes like we normally do. It's not very new, Auntie. In fact, Flux Harmonic has been around for how long has it been? I created the sort of the brand, the idea of Flux Harmonic probably in 2016. I think that's when it was, 2016. But then I started using it for something much later. I feel like I'm blurry here. Can't tell for sure. I started using it for things much later. You need to ramble for 40 minutes. Why? So that you have time to get drunk, Summer? I don't think we need that. It's tradition. I'm gonna have to be a little bit more productive in these streams, I think. So I don't know if I can ramble for 40 minutes. I'm trying to get things done here, okay? I'm trying to be somewhat productive. So, background. As you know, if you're here on the System Crafters channel, I've been doing System Crafters videos and live streams about Emacs and Guix for a little over 5 years now. So I started in September of 2020, and we're coming up on 6 years now, pretty soon. I've been streaming a lot. I've probably done I don't know, how many years is that? Times about, let's say 40 streams per year at least, 40 to 50 streams per year, because I do it pretty much every week as much as possible. That's a lot of streams, okay? And I basically have covered everything I could possibly want to cover in a stream or a video on System Crafters. It's kind of gotten to the point now where it's extremely difficult for me to think of things I want to do on the stream. And it sort of got me thinking recently about sort of what I want to do next, because I could either keep limping along and not really feeling what I'm doing on System Crafters, trying to just come up with ideas at the last minute and not really coming up with a good sort of end result. I mean, we have fun, we joke around and talk and everything, but in the end, I feel like I'm not really doing a good service to people if they're coming here maybe like, wanting to learn something about the topic that I'm talking about and really nothing gets done at all. So what else can I do? Okay, well, the next thing to do is to be working on projects, but a lot of the stuff that I want to do right now isn't really appropriate for System Crafters, because it's like, some game development stuff or like creative tools. And also using AI assistance, which is something that is kind of a contentious topic, let's say, in the free and open source software communities. So I don't really want to bring that into System Crafters, but I am doing it on my personal time in my job. And I've got my own way that I like to leverage it, and I want to try to leverage it in unique ways for building things on a live stream. Basically doing live coding, but with the help of AI, but trying not to just let AI do everything. So, as you know, or if you've been watching the channel or channels over the years, well, okay, maybe I should pause right there and say Flux Harmonic, the channel, if you haven't heard about it. It was in 2022 that I actually started doing live streams twice a week on that channel. And the goal was to write things from scratch. I was trying to write games, I was trying to write creative tools, and I was even starting to write my own programming language from scratch in C and other languages, Scheme, etc. And I had a lot of fun with that, but I was trying to do that plus System Crafters at the same time, and I was actually doing a lot more on System Crafters at that time. So I had to kind of shelve Flux Harmonic for a while, but it was always in the back of my mind because I like this format of actually trying to build something real, participate in game jams, having my own whole set of tools that I'm trying to work on to achieve my creative goals. And I always meant to come back to it, but I didn't really have a good opportunity to do so until now, because I'm basically burned out on System Crafter streams to the point where all I really want to do is work on projects and do that on live streams. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of handing the baton from System Crafters to Flux Harmonic in the normal slot that we would normally be doing System Crafter streams. So we're going to be doing Flux Harmonic streams from now on the Flux Harmonic channel. So if you don't have or if you had not subscribed to that channel, you're going to want to go to youtube.com/@FluxHarmonicLive. There's not a whole lot there at the moment, except for a bunch of stream recordings, because I was doing stuff on there a while. I mean, this stream is there right now, but there's a lot of old stuff there. If you want to kind of see what we were doing there was a bunch of game jams, a bunch of other kind of live coding stuff over the years. But if you want to follow the live streams going forward, you're going to want to have to subscribe to that channel, or twitch.tv/FluxHarmonicLive, which is not streaming right now, but I'll set that up for next week. Either of those will be the place to be to watch the streams going forward, because I am going to pause the System Crafters streams. I won't be streaming System Crafters topics on the System Crafters channel anymore. Probably we will be talking about, Emacs and Guix tangentially related to what we're doing, but really this channel is more about building stuff, okay? Auntie says, what is the Twitch equivalent of MPV? The same. You just use the new URL, the Flux Harmonic Live URL. So that's sort of what we're doing now, okay? That's the high level view of it. We're switching to this. Biggie says, damn you, I'm here at 10 a.m. almost every week except today. What do you mean? Oh, you mean you're late. Yes, you're late. Today I was on time because I have to make an announcement about this stuff, so I need to be on time, I need to be prepared. I'm prepared for once, unlike the previous 2 years. Okay, so I've refreshed the website for Flux Harmonic to sort of, put the framing to let you know sort of what this is all about. It's basically my creative label for my projects, and also a community for people who want to build their own tools, which kind of feels a lot like system crafters, but we're talking more about like people who are building them, even if they're using AI, but you know, like making stuff, not just like configuring things, which configuring things in the scope of system crafters, configuring things and building things kind of is a blurry line, but at least in this case, we're talking more about like building new things. People who build their own tools their own way for their own use cases, for anyone with an idea they can't shake, the kind that you have to make even when it seems foolish or infeasible, which are basically all of my ideas. They're all foolish and infeasible, and that's why I love them so much, because they're mine. Andy says, great dark theme, thank you. My biggest challenge has always been having more ideas than I could ever build on my own, which is absolutely true, because I was trying to build too many things back in the original incarnation of Flux Harmonic. It's usually the case like my entire life. I've been just biting off way too much, more than I could chew, let's say. But now, with AI and my own ecosystem of tools, I finally got a real shot at building what I always wanted to, so join me on the journey, blah, 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 whatever. This is sort of marketing just to get people interested, but that is the point. Like, we're gonna start like building a lot of different things. Over the last 8 months, maybe 8 to 9 months, I've built kind of a ridiculous amount of stuff, basically through the Sigil language that I started working on, which is the continuation of the Mesh project. I don't know if people remember mesh.cc. Oh, the website doesn't work, probably because I stopped paying SourceHut. So they took all my websites down. Even davidwill.com no longer works because SourceHut booted me. That's okay, that makes sense. So codeberg.org /mesh, I can type it, mesh/mesh. All right, there we go. So basically, it's basically Sigil, but just handwritten and much worse. A lot of the same ideas are there. Basically, try to make a scheme compiler that can build standalone applications and be used in various different cases, various different ways or use cases. I had written a few game jam games with this language and the tool set that was built around it. There's like a game library and some other things. And it went pretty well. And I was quite obsessed with it to the point where I couldn't think about much else. So I had to stop working on it because it was just becoming too much of a time sink. But then last year, around November timeframe, Opus 4.6, was it 4.5? Maybe it's 4.5, came out, and I tried it just to kind of fool around with some projects. And then I was like, maybe I can try to like dust off Mesh and do it again and see if I can get the LLM to help me. And here we are 9 months later, and I've basically built an entire programming language and ecosystem and a lot of tools that are built on top of it. So those of you who've been watching recent System Crafter streams have heard this multiple times already. Sorry for that. But for those of you who have not heard it, basically, if you go to codeberg.org /sigil, Jerry says, Psha, you're far from old. Hey, Jerry. I'm glad to hear you say that. Appenzel, hey, Appenzel says, end of an era. Yeah, it is kind of end of an era, but, you know, there we are. There's a bunch of repositories here. There are 89 repositories, which is stupid. Okay, it's stupid to create 89 repositories in the span of about 8 months, but you're creating a programming language and a bunch of libraries that go along with it. That's basically what ends up happening. Hey, Akite says, where is my chat? Akite says, I'm interested on the design of the scheme compiler. Do you make a CPS pass and compile from that to C assembly? Yes, there is a CPS pass, which is a continuation passing style compiler design. I don't want to get into details of that right now, because it probably would just make people's heads hurt. It would make mine hurt too. But the idea is that you are taking the original scheme code and converting it to an intermediate format that is easier for the compiler to reason about, and then you compile that to whatever the target output is. And in the case of Sigil, we compile both to a bytecode backend. We have a bytecode interpreter, and also there's a native code compilation backend, which compiles the CPS form of the code to C code, and then compiles that into a final application. There's also a WASM backend now too. So we go either from, well, we compile the entire runtime to WASM to run in the browser, or we can compile the sort of the native form of the application in C, wow that to WASM and run that in browser. So pretty much everything can be done in the browser at this point. And it's basically a standalone tool chain for the most part. I mean, you install the Sigil binary. There's a muzzle C build where you can just kind of grab the binary and run it on your local machine, on Linux at least. And it will download Zig for you to do the C compilation, which is great because it does cross compilation to all the target platforms, including WASM. And there you go. I mean, they basically have like the full tool set right there. And then it has its own dependency management system, Sigil Depths, where you can pull in dependencies for the projects from GitHub repository or Git repositories from different forges. Anyway, it works. It's crazy, but it works. But it's also buggy. You can just ask Trev, who's been trying to write a Bitcoin scam with Sigil for the last couple of weeks. Sorry, Trev. And there's rough edges, but part of what we're gonna do on the streams is try to like polish off those rough edges and make the language easier for a human being to use. Whoa, come on, says Trev. Okay, I'm just joking, dude. I'm joking. Everybody knows it's a meme. It's a meme coin. It's not a real. I mean, it's not yet. It did expose issues. It sure did. So, where was I going with that? Roll it back. Let's pop back up the stack a little bit. I think I totally lost the train of thought. Somebody remind me. So did Siglings. Yes, Siglings did too. Oh, yes. So, since I have not personally been writing a lot of the code of Sigil up until this point, the LLM has been doing that, Opus of various versions, and also Codex a little bit, GPT 5.5. I think it's time for me to start like getting my hands dirty a little bit because I don't want to be completely inauthentic with this and just let the LLM do everything. At some point, I have to get my hands into it as well. Since I have not been doing that up until now, the REPL experience has not really progressed very far. It's there. There is a pretty good REPL experience. Does all has like a full debugger and everything in it. But since I haven't been using it, it's probably been rotting over time and it doesn't really work very well. So we will be trying to improve that as we go. Actually, I should probably be pulling up my notes here and looking at that because I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. Pause on that. Let me check the chat first, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Summer Emacs says, feeds Big Edie a sandwich too. Sounds like he needs it. This is after rubbing Big Edie's tummy. What are we doing in here, man? What kind of weird RP is this? Let's see. Summer says, please give us some examples on what exactly will consist of building projects in this new enlightened endeavor of yours. Yes, well, you will see now. We crave specifics. Our ears hunger for thine news. Are we back to Old English? Rev says this Week in Geeks is up for any geeks lovers. Well, we need a way to like post links into the show notes. Summer says, what's going to happen to the forum? Well, okay, that's a good question. What's going to happen to System Crafters? Well, System Crafters is going to stay right there. The IRC channel is going to stay right there. The forum is going to stay right there. Everything else is going to stay right there. Nothing's changing on that. It's just no new streams are going to happen. And I mean, no new videos are really happening there anyway. So like, it's just going to stay where it is. Everything's going to be the same. Maybe eventually I'll go back to it if I have an idea that I want to do some videos or streams for. But for now, this is what I'm going to do. Summer says, I feel lost. Is this the end of the world? Are we all going away? No, we're all here. You're here right now. Glenn says, I built Sigil Watch with Sigil, tied it into the GitHub GraphQL API. It works great. That's awesome. Yeah, you've done a couple things with Sigil too, Glenn. I know. Okay. So let me just read over the notes that my dutiful assistant had written for me. God damn, I can't speak anymore. Let's see. So we mentioned the new site. Basically redid the site. Previous to that, it was really crappy looking, but that's okay. It didn't really matter too much. And then the System Crafter streams are going on hiatus. Live building moves here to Flux Harmonic. So yeah, just need to subscribe to those channels. And System Crafter stays where it is. Summer says, you're doing basically as a pivot and rebrand, but keep the main corporation the same, kind of like Facebook when it became Meta. So you're imitating Zuck. Is that what you're doing? Are we going to start getting into how I look like Zuckerberg now? Probably a lot of people don't think that, but there have been a couple people who've told me that I look like Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't like that at all. In fact, I hate it. Auntie says to Summer Emacs, you didn't contribute that much in the forum. It's going to be fine. That's a little bit mean. Come on. Okay. So this first stream back on Flux Harmonic is about the why and the how more than a deep build, or at least we're not really gonna, well, we might get into building something in a little bit, okay? Because there's only gonna be so much time I can talk about what we're gonna be doing before we have to actually get into something. But I wanted to go over what kinds of things we will be working on, and also the kinds of things I've been building so far, which I got into before, but then I realized I should probably stop myself and have a bit more of a plan, okay? Because I do have a plan. I need to follow the plan and not just be rambling. Got it? So we'll talk about what kinds of things we'll be building so that you understand what the nature of this channel is, you know? Because Summer was asking, right? Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters. Jeez, dude, really? I don't think so. I don't see it. I look cooler than Zuck. Okay, that's good. Zuck definitely has more of a reptilian sheen, let's say. Sheen and like eye glaze, whatever else you want to say. Dude, check it. I'm not gonna look up Chris Shiflett in the damn stream just to see if I look like him. All right. So, as we said before, Flux Harmonic is a creative label for my games, tools, and music. Yes, music. At some point, I'll actually make some on the channel. We'll see how that works. I mean, I've got guitars sitting over here. I could probably do some of that too at some point. I don't really know if anybody's going to want to hear that, but it will happen eventually. It will happen eventually. And a home for building authentically in the age of AI, which is a thing that I'm a little bit concerned about because people have very strong opinions about AI one way or the other. And for me, at least, I embrace the fact that the tool works and it can do certain things, but also you got to make sure you have the right balance and not overdo it. If you're trying to create things because you like creating things, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense just to let the AI do everything, okay? Now, this is me saying that as a person who let the AI write all the code for Sigil and the whole ecosystem, but I didn't just like let it do everything. I didn't write the code, but I did like very carefully tell it what I want it to do, okay? And iterate many times over everything, all right? So this is like, it is a creation of mine. It's just not, I didn't write it with my hand. Just like a director of a movie did not go and paint all the sets or, you know, position the camera a certain way, which maybe they did, I don't know. But, you know, usually the cinematographer's doing that. The director is kind of directing, right? So I'm kind of more the director of all the things that are happening. The agents are doing some of the work, you know, I will also do some of the work. Part of the point here is to find where that balance point is and to do some of the work myself, but then see like where exactly AI is the performance boost compared to me like trying to actually creatively express myself through the code and the music and everything else. So that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see how well it works, but I am committed to not boring you to death just by us sitting here and watching Claude scroll the entire time, okay? I have a plan for that, right? I have a few different plans for that. Have you ever heard of what TV showrunners do usually whenever they try to plot out an episode? Usually there's an A plot and a B plot in a TV show, or in many TV shows, like maybe like the ones that are more formulaic. But the idea is that it's easier, especially if you have a larger ensemble of characters or, you know, actors, whatever the show, to have multiple plot lines happening in parallel in an episode so that there's something happening at all times, because you can't just watch the person walk through their normal life in a show. I mean, it's kind of boring. So usually there's two plot lines going on at least, and that's kind of what I'm going to try to do here. There's going to be multiple projects or multiple efforts happening at the same time. We'll see how well that actually works in practice, but I'm going to have a few different things that I want to accomplish during a stream. Some of it will be the AI writing things. Some of it will be me like coming up with designs for things. Some of it will be me writing the code, or maybe like, you know, interacting with things in REPL. Mainly to see what the workflow will look like. Like, how will it look to actually try to work on multiple projects in parallel? I mean, I know how it looks already. I do it all the time, but like, how will I do it on a stream to make it not boring? That's really the big thing. Big Edie says, a few weeks ago you mentioned potentially doing a new EFS series. Is that on hold then? It's kind of on hold. I don't really know. Summer says, Computing Directing in the Age of AI. New book by Flux Harmonic. Good Lord. Summer Emacs says, so programmers should be renamed directors. I like that. Computer directors. It is kind of like that. Agent directors. Noel Bat says, I've started to really enjoy using LLMs. There is a balance to be had, in my opinion. Yes, for sure. Julian, hey Julian, says, I'm late. Flux Harmonic is back. I used to love what you did with that. Well, it's back. It is back. Reptilian Sheen. Def be like that. Thank you. Let's see. Ashra says, wasn't Flux Harmonic supposed to be streamed as an alternative to the Friday SC streams? Well, I don't remember what I had said about that in the past. I don't know why my chat thing is not showing the YouTube chat over here. Local LLMs, people have mentioned that a couple times. I will try that at some point, but I don't know. Like, I don't have a powerful enough computer. Like, I've seen some of the stuff that's out there right now. Like, NVIDIA has a machine that costs like $4,500 that is supposed to be really good for running local LLMs. It's like this big, like one of those Nook type machines, but it's got a whole bunch of crap inside of it. Crap, I don't know. I think that would be pretty good, but I don't have $4,500 to spend on like a little machine just for running local LLMs right now. I might as well just keep paying for my Claude subscription for the next few years. All right, back up a little bit. Let's see. So Sigil is the foundation, which I mentioned, my own scheme that compiles the native code, et cetera, et cetera. Sigil is kind of like the core of my obsession at the moment. I keep coming back to it. Like, yeah, there will be times where I'll take breaks. I'll be doing other things for a little bit, but then I always come back to it because there's always something else for me to want to do with it and something to build with it. And it just necessitates more improvements and changes. But really what's happening right now is, well, I should probably talk about that a little bit later, but I'm trying to get to a point where it's stable enough for people to use for real projects and not just me. That's difficult because when you've got an AI doing a lot of the work, sometimes stability of the code can be nebulous. That's not the right word for it, but it can be really hard to pin down. Things will keep shifting around. Like, I think it's doing pretty good right now. Like, there's not a whole lot of really weird bugs, but there are little things that will bite you every now and then. But we need to make it better. And that part of what we're doing here will be to figure out how to leverage AI to make it better and keep it stable, let's say. So Sigil's foundation, games are the gallery in the sense that the games are sort of like the outward manifestation of like the sort of creative energy that gets put into this. I've got a couple games I've been working on with Sigil so far. We're going to end up doing more. And they're all going to be released for free because, I mean, like, who's going to want to pay for a game that somebody, you know, use AI to make most of? Maybe they will. I don't know. I don't really care that much, though, because the point here isn't to, like, make money from selling games or selling programs. It's more just to, like, have fun making stuff, and then people should just get to enjoy the output of that, you know? Morgan says, is using it for real projects mean using it through an LLM agent because that's your main target, or you think it would be okay to use it by hand? I want both. I've kind of gone back and forth on what the goal would be for Sigil in terms of whether a human should be able to use it, but I do want people to be able to use it. I want to be able to use it too. Like, I like writing scheme code, and I would like to participate in game jams and other types of activities like that where I will be writing everything from scratch, or at least the game itself. So Sigil needs to be comfortable and fun to use when writing things by hand. And I think it's pretty close to that already. It's just that, like, the polish needs to be brought up to the right level again. Because right now, there's a lot of bugs that prevent it from working perfectly, which Trev found when Trev tried to use it. Trev, is a Sigling site up right now? I know it's probably broken. Trev's site .code, what is it? trevarge.codeberg.page/siglings. Sorry if I'm like telling people about this when you're not ready for it. But if you want to see what people can do with Sigil right now on the web, you can go to the Sigling site and learn Sigil. All the examples are generated by AI, so I don't know if we can really trust them yet. We should edit these. But you can run the code directly in a browser and test things out. So it is possible to actually, like, do interesting things with Sigil at the moment and in a REPL experience. Let's see, evaluate against a live VM format. Ooh, scintillating. But things do work. Just need to make it better. Ashra says, did I get that correctly? SE is going to be put on hiatus. Yes, System Crafter streams will be on hiatus for now. Let me see. DevB says, the recursive part looks really interesting. Have thought about what I do with an automated stream that doesn't fall into the perils of others. What does that mean? Ashra says, that would probably be important enough to finally send a newsletter, right? The problem is my whole newsletter setup is totally screwed up right now. And I don't easily have a way to send a newsletter at the moment, unfortunately. And setting it back up again will require setting up a lot of resources that I probably wouldn't end up using. Noelbeth says, I need to get Wasm working in my pet list. That's cool to be able to test online. Yeah, it is cool. And in fact, you can go to the Sigil website, use sigil.org, and click on try it here. And you can also see the web REPL, which is the Wasm compiled version of Sigil format. Hello. Ha, it's not working. So that just goes to show you that you shouldn't try to demo things live on stream. But the point is that it does work sometimes. Wow, the stop button is still red. So we're going to have to fix that at some point. That broke in 0.17.1, apparently. Some Remix says, build an app with Sigil that sets up a newsletter thing for your server. Well, the thing about newsletters is that if you want to try to send out newsletters yourself, you got to do a lot of work on what is it called? Email reputation, email server reputation. I would do that if I thought that I could actually accomplish it, but I don't think it's very easy to set up your own mailing list server, newsletter server, let's say, because you will get blacklisted pretty fast on all the major email providers like Gmail and whoever else people use. What do people use other than Gmail these days? Do people use actually Outlook.com at all? Yahoo Mail, for God's sake. Okay, anyway. Yes, thank you, DefB, point out the next thing in this stuff here. And now I see what DefB is talking about. Seek says, what did I miss? Oh, a lot. Always on section is Twitch is an interesting place. Aside from streaming a camera or data, it seems hard to be sticky. Always on. That'd be kind of interesting to try that. So, yes, exactly. DMark and stuff. Your guys took care of that. Watch them while they did it. Well, then that means you can set mine up, right? And Ashra says the same thing. You can set up my server, right? Okay, the recursive part. The show builds the tools that make the show. That's going to be the fun thing, I think. I mean, that's what we've been doing so far. Right now, the chat that you see on the screen, on the stream right up here, that's actually being powered by Sigil code right now. It's connected to the IRC server using Sigil IRC, which is an IRC library written for Sigil. Then it uses Sigil Web to render an HTML page. Well, Sigil SXML to render the page, but the Sigil Web is what is doing like the polling for the new messages that come in. Then obviously I've got Sigil HTTP, which is the underpinning of that provides the web server that's being run to put this into OBS. And all kinds of other things that are in between that as well. Sigil JSON, everything else. So there's like the whole stack, basically. But then, Livecrafter itself is a tool that is meant for powering the stream. There's, is it listed on the site? I've got some things listed here. What are the tools? What are the things we should be talking about? Well, there's Easel for generating images with Sigil code. And actually, today, I used Easel, which I've had for a while now. I've been generating System Crafter's stream thumbnails with it for probably 3 or 4 months. And today's thumbnail that has the Flux Harmonic logo in it also was generated using Easel. So that's a thing. Basically, it uses FFI to wrap the Cairo and Harfbuzz and Pango APIs so that it can use Cairo to do the rendering of all the graphics. And just it has a scheme API on top of it. If you want to check that out, go look at it. But basically, you can describe an image with scheme code and then have it be generated. It's not the best thing yet. You can go take a look at the SC Live thumbnail .sigil file here, and you can see like, I mean, it's kind of janky looking code, but it is scheme code that describes in. Anyway, you can see what it basically looks like to create images in scheme code. We'll look into that more later. There's things I want to do with it. I really haven't gotten back to it in a while, but that is something we will do. There's also montage, which is something I haven't touched in a while, but it's something I want to do for automating video production. We've talked about on System Crafters a few times the Melt framework, so the MLT framework, which is a multimedia framework for video production. It's an open source project. It's available in Guix, and it effectively allows you to produce live video or edit video with kind of a full tool set. The Caden Live video editor, the Shotcut video editor, both of those are built on Melt framework. But the actual underlying tool set is very easy to script in a sense, either through XML or through command line invocation. So montage is basically a tool that wraps that and makes it easier to cut up clips from videos and structure them in a way that you can like generate them to be the format you want for YouTube or whatever else. So basically like how I would, take the stream recordings from Flux Harmonic streams and turn those into shorts or turn them into actual videos. This would be a tool to use for that. So that's going to be pretty interesting to look into a little bit later. Livecrafter obviously is the thing that runs the streams, is what's doing the chat, is doing the little tickers. Where is it? Ticker. The ticker thing down here is run with Livecrafter. The title up there that you see above the chat is run with Livecrafter. More of the stream will be powered by that at some point. I've got some ideas on how I want to kind of get things a little more integrated, and also do some more cool interactive stuff in the stream, like having polls or other fun little gags that maybe happen during the stream. Plenty of things we could do on the stream to write that stuff and then maybe have it like actually work in the stream, which would be pretty funny. Press is a static site generator written in Sigil that actually generated this site, but this site is only one page, so it doesn't really tell you much. However, I think the actual Sigil website, this whole website was created with Press. It says generated by Sigil Docs, but I don't think that's accurate. I think it's actually generated by Press. But it's a static site generator. I mean, every damn language has 500 of those. I don't know. Nothing that special, okay? Then, like, I've got my whole set of MCP servers. The one that really matters the most, or the two that matter the most for now, will be Folio and Courier. Folio is the thing that manages the Markdown-based knowledge graph and project management. So inside of the Flux Harmonic repository, the main website repository, that's on GitHub right now, but it's going to change eventually. Flux Harmonic. If you go into this repository, there's a folder called Folio, and it's basically a folder of Markdown files. Today's stream notes are there, and these are cross-linked with wiki-style links to other notes. And the MCP server makes it possible to follow those links or get like backlink references and things of that nature. It just makes it easier for an agent to keep notes about things. I've been using it a lot in my personal stuff. I've got quite a huge database at this point of notes. And it's basically like an external memory for the agent that it can pull things from, or track to-do lists or anything like that. So it does a lot of cool stuff. We'll probably be working on it at some point to make improvements to it, or at least just using it in the course of the streams. Courier kind of does the coordination and communication between different agents. We don't have that set up right now. If we have time, I might try to like set that up here because it is useful. But basically, I have one main Claude session that spawns other Claude sessions. They both have the Courier MCP server loaded, and they communicate to each other, sending messages back and forth to coordinate work. I showed this in a System Crafter stream probably like 4 or 5 months ago. And I'm still using it, and it still does a pretty good job for me. So I think I'll keep doing that on these streams. This will also allow us to do that sort of like A plot, B plot, showrunner type deal on the stream, where we have multiple Claudes working on things at the same time, so that it doesn't get too boring. Enclave is another thing that I've been wanting to talk about but I haven't gotten around to yet, which is basically an IRC v3 server that is self-hostable. And the idea is that it's not meant for creating IRC networks. It's meant for creating a small chat server for you and the people who are closest to you, or up to like 500 to 1,000 people who are closest to you. Small communities, basically. This is one standalone IRC v3 server that supports all the functions that you would need to chat comfortably without using a bouncer, because it would basically be its own bouncer in a way. Has chat history and some other useful things, push notifications, etc. And it also has a PWA web front end, which means that it's basically like a web page that you can install as an app on your phone and then have it be like a full chat client. And that works pretty well. I've actually been using it for a while. So that's something we're going to look at some point. And I'm thinking what I want to do eventually is to use that as the chat for this community. So for Flux Harmonic and for things going forward, we would probably use an Enclave IRC server to have all the chat rooms and stuff in one place. It would be more like our own personal Discord in a way, but you know, kind of owned by us or owned by me, let's say. Or you could host your own very easily and then have a nice like modern chat experience without having to install a weird IRC app on your phone. Okay. So that's Enclave. There's also Apiary, which is a different take on Courier, which allows you to have your agent connect via IRC to an Enclave server where there's a room for orchestrating multiple agents at the same time, so you can kind of keep an eye on all of them at the same time, and they can communicate with each other in the chat room, which gives you some interesting visibility into what happens there. So anyway, I'm just kind of rambling through all the different projects, but there's a lot of stuff, as you can see. Like I've already done a lot of things. A lot of these projects are quite far along already, but getting the full end-to-end vision implemented takes a lot of time and effort. And the streams will be sort of a driving force for me to get it done. Red pipeline symbol on which repo? On Enclave? I'm wondering, yeah, dude. So Codeberg is driving me crazy. Woodpecker is incredibly unstable now. It's so bad. It's so bad. Now this is my fault, okay? This one's probably my fault. Actually, I know exactly what the problem is here. This is a depth issue. But on the main Sigil repo, I can't get CI jobs to run at all. Look at all that red. Delicious. Auntie says, now that we're in the Flux Harmonic epoch, can we have a stream where we invite other devs like Trev? That's not a bad idea. We could do that. All right, let me go back to the chat because I can just keep rambling. What is this wallpaper background thing? I don't know. It's just something that looks abstract and cool and, you know, fits the theme, I guess. CI jobs are bug magnets. Run your own, much less hassle. Well, funny you mention that. Funny you mention that. I actually have been writing one. I just haven't got it fully deployed yet. This is one of the flakier things I've worked on. It's kind of difficult to make this work well. But it's supposed to be a minimal self-hostable CI system. It's inspired by Laminar in a way. It's supposed to be simple. If you don't remember Laminar, we talked about it on System Crafters. Ouch. Basically, it is a CI system that just runs on bash scripts that are triggered by webhooks. This is going to be a little bit more than that, but I don't know. Why not make my own? Note, his rambling did not disappoint today. Well, I got a lot of things to say, I guess. Anyway, Kiln. That's another project. I just don't have it on the list yet because I don't really feel like it's going to be interesting enough in the short term. But eventually, we're going to have to work on that one. So, F Joe is my Forgeo MCP server / CLI. I mean, that will be used. I'm probably going to remove FJO and Bureau from this list because we won't work on them as much. Minder kind of just works. It's not really that interesting. Basically, it allows you to schedule recurring tasks for your agent. It's an MCP server that uses the MCP notification channel functionality in Claude so that it runs in the background. It has a schedule. And then whenever one of those scheduled events is meant to be raised, it injects a prompt into your running session, which sounds insane, kind of is a little bit insane, but it does work. I mean, I use it every single day. It's ticking along quite nicely. It sends me out my briefings in the morning that I never read, and it does my email triage at 11 a.m. and like deletes all the emails that probably I should have read. Anyway, let's get back to the chat. I've missed some things. Ashra says, in the past, you sometimes had interviews and discussions on stream that was SC related only. Flux Harmonic will not do that at all, right? Well, I didn't really do it that much with System Crafters either, did I? Who did I interview? Jeff. I had Jeff on once. And then I had Christine and Dave and Robin on once. That's it, right? I don't think there was nobody else. Pretty sure. Summer says, seeing as how you mentioned, let me click that. Seeing as how you mentioned, you work mostly with Claude and the CLI now since ages, you rarely do ever use Emacs. What do you actually still use Emacs for? You never did org agenda stuff in org files. Well, I didn't never do it. I did it, but I don't do it anymore. Emacs was always coding based for you. Do you still have a use for Emacs in your daily life? I use it for file management, like Dired. I think that Dired and Telega.el are the two things I use Emacs for the most right now. I also read things in it. I read files that Claude makes and make edits to them, you know, like basically leaving comments for it to go fix things. I will write things at times. Ashra says, didn't Fade also join on stream for about 20 seconds? Maybe. I think that we did a little experiment one day with Video Ninja. I think that's what happened with that. I think Fade and Glenn were on, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, I don't really use Emacs for a ton. I have Emacs open all day. I have it open, I have multiple instances of it open all day, but I'm mostly using it for like moving around my file system with Dired, which sounds ridiculous, but I don't know, it works for that, right? I launch programs with it. What else do I do? Let's see. Forget Emacs or Lim. Now we need an editor built on Sigil. I don't know, man. Here's what I think would be nice. One thing I always wanted was an Emacs-like program that would make it easy for you to make purpose-built apps for yourself. So if you think of Emacs as a programmable productivity tool, which is text-based and very, you know, buffer-oriented and all the things that we know about that, it is possible for you to make your own apps, let's say. Summer says, what do you edit your code in that Claude produces? In Emacs, if I ever do edit the code, which is not super often. So, lost my train of thought on that one. Spool me back. Okay, somebody will remind me. Yes, now I reminded myself. So Emacs is basically an app development platform in a way, because it's very easy for you to go and write an Emacs package or just some custom Emacs Lisp code to add functionality that you would need to use. And they've got a lot of user interface affordances built in for things like selecting files, or, you know, prompting users for text, or, you know, making edits to buffers, or even making a user interface in a buffer. So that's kind of useful, but a text-based interface that you have to use a keyboard for primarily is limiting. And also, it's not very good on mobile devices. So one thing that I would like to see is a Sigil-based app development platform, which could be web-based, or it could be something that turns into the native UI, or like GPU-rendered UI, let's say, that could produce a user interface as a desktop application or a website or a mobile app, so that you could do something like make your own custom notes application or any other kinds of, like, you know, bespoke apps you would need. And I don't mean like an app you would ship yourself. I mean like have there be some program that you can write code, Sigil code, that you load into like a package, and then it does whatever you want it to do, just like how Emacs would be. That's the thing that I would go for. I wouldn't try to make a text editor. I would try to make an extensible app platform that you can kind of build your own stuff for, okay? And have it have its own sort of mentality about how you're supposed to use it. so that it's easy for people to write extensions that kind of click into that and kind of make the whole thing useful. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't make an editor. I would make an app platform. Ashra says, I fear the answer is Claude. Claude edits Claude. That's true. And Tunamog, hey, Tunamog says, oh no, I'm late to the show. Chipmunk David, 2x mode, catch up now. I don't see how people listen to that because it would be very annoying, I think. All right. So, where was I? Peter says, one big thing is you have less to worry about with other people running arbitrary code. On my own CI server, maybe. Or maybe on someone else's CI server, I don't know. So that's it, I think, for the list of projects. I mean, we have a couple of things game-wise. Oh, and Motif, I forgot about Motif. So I've been working on 2 different games so far with Sigil. One of them, probably I can't load right now. Sigil.codeberg.page/blackice. This probably won't resolve now because I moved the repo. Oh, it does. They're mostly just been for tech demos, right? Like I'm trying to demonstrate that certain things are possible. Like for instance, this one is like a cyberpunk Sokoban style game where you kind of walk around in a grid and you push boxes around, you go to the exit. Kind of like you're a hacker, but it's just, you know, more like a Chips Challenge. This is written in Sigil. It only uses the DOM for rendering everything. It's basically a web page. You're 2 of what? Anyway. This was mainly meant to be a tech demo for the Sigil WASM compilation and also the DOM API for being able to actually access the DOM API from Sigil code whenever running code in the browser. It was successful for that. And I think this is actually kind of cool. But I did not touch this at all. Like I just told Claude to write it one day. It created the game. What? Subscriptions. I asked it to create the game. It created it. It looks cool. But we're going to go back eventually and like really take a look at this and try to make it the way we want it and not just like let Claude decide what to do. Okay. Def B says, great throwback. Chips Challenge was so good. Yeah, I loved Chip Challenge back in the day. It was awesome. I've always wanted to make a game that was inspired by it. Hello to Apple Princess over in the YouTube chat. What Claude? Have you seen Doctor yet? Yes, Doctor was insane. Doctor wanted to keep telling me about the inappropriate thoughts I was having. Little did it know I was having inappropriate thoughts, but that's a different story. Let's see. So anyway, Trev says, I just came back. I doubt he'd have a demon seed like me on the stream since I offended him with the Foo Fighters guitarist. You sure did. At least you didn't tell me that I look like Pat Smear. Not to besmirch the name of Pat Smear. Not to smear the name of Pat Smear. But, you know, I think I look far different than Pat Smear than I do whoever you said that I look like. And Pat Smear looks quite a lot older than me. Anyway. I just like saying the name Pat Smear, right? Do we really want to get Trev on the stream? Do we? It is offensive. Well, I'm sure Left Pack can be far more offensive than that. Back to the point, Cinder Cadence, which I renamed yesterday because the previous name of Cinder Cantata was stupid. And I every time I had to say it, I felt really ridiculous, so I changed it. This is also a game that actually is a better indicator of the current status of Sigil because you get 60 frames per second, bullet hell. There's no screenshots here. We're gonna have to get it to build on this machine and run it, but basically you get high performance graphics rendering when you've got like maybe like 1,000 things rendering on the screen at the same time, which is pretty good for a garbage collected language. I think like it's not the best, but it's good enough at least for continuing to work on a game that kind of tests the limits of the performance profile of the language. Cedric and Tata. So we will be working on this one. here and there. I haven't decided yet like what order we'll do things in. If people have preferences of things they would like to see me work on, please feel free to tell me. But this is something that I want to do sort of in the short term. Trev says, I wanted to try building this. Can you upload your own MP3s and play to them like an OSU? No. So this one is using Motif, which is the audio or the music composition engine, let's say, for Sigil. It's another project we will definitely be working on. Nobath says, does Sigil have an FFI? Yes, it does. It has one that's built in. Actually, no, there's a library. So if you go to Sigil/Sigil, excuse me, not that one, Sigil FFI. Basically, you can dynamically bind to C libraries using this library, okay? So you can do that. FB says, Black Ice is fun. Love the simple neon visual. Yeah, I like it too. I think it looks pretty good. I want to expand on it though, make a lot more levels. I mean, obviously, Claude can help us with that, but maybe we should do it ourselves. I don't know. Peter's LSing the chat. It happens. I know. I'm not gonna call you out on that. I just did, I guess. Trev says, so I can't play all my favorite Blink-182 songs on it yet. Well, we do have the Sigil DSP library. So if there is a fast Fourier transform library in that, which there may be, and you could do frequency analysis on the track, then it's possible that you could turn that into the data for the game. But the idea, let me roll it back. Motif is a composition engine, which is built on top of Sigil DSP. Sigil DSP provides basically the synthesizer engine for audio in Sigil. Motif is built on top of that, and it gives you a way to compose music in code, okay? Is there an example here? I mean, this shows like setting up synth pads and stuff, but there are actual compositions that are not very good, I will tell you. Like Claude made these and they're not great. They're okay. Dark ambient, let's see. So if you look at the code, it sets up a lot of calculations to set things up. It creates layers with different synths and effects. It's got a lot of different effects that it puts in. And then it has a composition somewhere. Make automation. Where is the damn... C minor. Track name, dark ambient. Oh, that's just metadata. Okay. Repeated progression, end times of offset. So basically, you can code music. I don't know if you can live code it yet, but the idea is that you should be able to use Motif to make music with Sigil code. Okay. Live coding of the music, we'll try to do at some point whenever we get kind of into that project more. But Motif provides the engine for generating the music in Cinder Cadence. In Cinder Cadence, the music is not an MP3 file. It is being generated live while the game is playing, okay? So you have live generated music, and the idea is that the music would be affected by the things happening in the game. So like if you're getting closer to death, it might change the filter that's being used on the music to make it sound different. And also the converse is true, where the actual content of the composition is what drives what happens in the game. So the tagline for the game is every beat is a bullet. And that's true because in the music, there's the sort of the drums that are kind of beating through the music. There's also like the notes that are playing, the chords that are playing, and all those events in the music actually translate to things happening in the game world, either things being spawned or bullets being shot or whatever. So the data of the composition is being used for the game, which means that it needs that composition, at least right now. We don't have a way to like take an arbitrary MP3 track and then turn that into gameplay. But I mean, it's something we could do later, I think. It'd be pretty funny to do that. Play some really silly tracks through it, you know? What is Strudel? Ashra says, why are you showing all your repositories on Codeberg instead of locally? Because it shows people where they can go look at them, Ashraz, so that they don't have to go look at my computer. Trev says, it does sound like a cool game if I could play to my favorite 90s songs. You know what we should do? We should embed a MIDI engine, sound font, something like that. And then you can go download all your favorite Creed MIDI files from the 90s and then have that play in the game and just enjoy with arms wide open in MIDI tones. You know, it's funny, I say that. What is that? These headphones are coming apart. I say that jokingly, but I actually did. Before MP3s like really became a thing, I was listening to MIDI files of like Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana, Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. I mean, I was listening to friggin' MIDI files because I couldn't actually get, you know, the song, like the actual audio of the song on the computer. Trev says, I play deep cuts only. Like what? Which song would you play? Def B says, bring all those old ringtones back to life. Yeah. Strudel is not like Tidal, it's a music REPL. Okay, I gotta see what this says. Where are we? Where's my keyboard? All right, strudel.cc, is that it? Whoa. Live coding platform to write dynamic music pieces in the browser. You probably won't hear this. That's cool. I like the syntax they use because it makes it easier to kind of understand what's being done here. We will need something like that for Sigil also. It will be pretty easy because we have syntax. You know, it's a scheme. So we can make a composition sub-language that works pretty well. But we haven't gotten there yet. Anyway, point being, there's a lot of stuff here, man. This is just too much stuff. A lot of projects, which is why we need a dedicated place to work on all these so that we can have some fun and make some progress. All right? Defby says, user-generated levels, user voting on different things like fun, difficulty, etc. If AI can generate levels, might as well decentralize the whole thing. That would be cool, actually. You know, if we could have like a repository of levels somewhere, I would love that. And like I said, you know, if I'm gonna make all of the resulting apps and games, tools, etc., open source and free for people to play, I mean, why not just let other people kind of get involved with the process? That's kind of what I want here, is I want people to be involved, not just passive consumers of me, you know, puttering around on strange projects with LLMs, but actually, you know, coming here and like wanting to see what's happening and maybe getting involved in some way. You know, some folks in the community have already been getting involved, like Trev and Glenn, you know, using Sigil and sending PRs and stuff, but I would like to see people actually try to build things with the tools that I've been working on, because it's fun. So let's see. Change the stream time to when my kids aren't around and when Glenn's boss isn't calling. Well, you know, one possible consequence of doing these streams is that we will have to at some point start doing them more frequently, to have like an ongoing storyline of things that are happening. I don't really have a plan for that yet, but there may be an opportunity to do this more at some point. Nobas says, any of you guys ever make music with Pure Data? I've used it for a long time, but never tried Strudel yet. Pure Data is interesting. It's basically is Pure Data the one that you're like wiring together modules, kind of like Max? Pretty awesome. Okay, so that's motif. I think we've covered everything here. So anyway, this website would be the place to go look at like the list of projects that we actually work on in this channel. I mean, if you go to the Sigil org on Codeberg, you'll see all the other things. In fact, you also have to go to Flux Harmonic for some of these too, because I've got Cinder Cadence and Black Ice there now. I moved them there from Sigil because it's more of a Flux Harmonic type project, you know, game development stuff. And some of these older projects we will probably try to resurrect and port from Mesh over to Scheme at some point. I've done all kinds of little experiments over the years on Flux Harmonic repos, and a lot of that I want to bring back. Like I've got kind of, there's a recurring thread in my mind over the years of a set of projects that I want to do, and I've been working on them all on and off in various ways over the years here. Many of them are taking classic, simpler games and then putting like a hacker spin on them, okay? Because I like hacker stuff. I think that like the whole hacker aesthetic, or at least the, let's say the movie style hacker aesthetic. You watch the movie Hackers from 1995, what was it, 1996? That's the kind of thing I have in mind. I think a lot of people know that. But let's say solitaire or mahjong or chips challenge, sokoban. What else? There's other things too, like just taking games like that have a simple premise but have fun mechanics and just like, you know, adding a layer on top of making it more like a hacker game. That's sort of the thing that I've been trying to do for a while, and it just seems like a fun thing to me to do, you know, to have kind of an interesting artistic aesthetic to use. Also, it's easier for a single person to work on a game like this because you have kind of a constrained rule set. So making the core game logic is not so hard, and everything else is just sort of adding the flavor on top or adding the content to make it interesting. So sort of the direction we'll be headed, at least with the game part of things. For music, it will be also a lot of electronic style music, at least at first, because the tools will support that, and that feeds directly into making the games. But then there will be some other kinds of, like, you know, compositions of music with, you know, other instruments of sorts over time. We'll see. I don't know how that will go. So let me check my notes. Yep. So basically we'll be doing all this kind of work in the open. I mean, I've been doing it all in the open so far. All the repositories are, you know, visible to everyone. Everybody can see when I'm pushing commits to this stuff. It's easy enough for Trev to go and tell me that Sigil is vaporware because I haven't shipped an update in a month or a month and a half or whatever Trev thought it was vaporware for. It's not vaporware. As you can see, it's being used. It may not be the greatest thing in the world. It may not be very stable, but it's being used. I digress. But stream hasn't even started yet. It started. We're talking about the topic right now. This is the topic. What are we saying? So at first, so we're beheading system crafters and it's dying and being buried. I see. And then Flux Harmonic is what? Sound waves and party hat and champagne, and everyone says yay, sad face. Use zoomers and all your emojis. Trev says, I really thought you gave up and went back to Windows. Are you kidding? Why would I do that? That's like the least me thing to ever happen. I'm never going back to Windows, buddy. Unless a job forces me to do it. And thankfully, over the past, well, okay, I have to use a Mac, but you know, I try to stay as far away from that as possible. What's the Emacs setup for Claude though? There isn't one because I'm using Claude in Tmux. But that's a good question. Oh my God, you're so Gen X. Dude, I'm not even Gen X, okay? I'm an elder millennial, as they call it, all right? I'm not Gen X. You think I'm 50 or something? No shade on 50-year-olds, but you can't call me Gen X. It's so funny. You kids and all your newfangled toys. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so how the streams work. Well, we are going to use Claude. Claude's going to do some of the work. Claude's going to keep these nice logs up to date for us. Okay. In fact, I mean, what should I do right now? Like, I'll tell Claude. How about that? Let's update today's stream log to say that I told everyone the plans for the channel and rambled a lot. And Summer Emacs says I'm murdering system crafters. All right. Yes, I could go write that myself, but why not? vterm is right there. Well, Claude does not work very well in vterm, in my opinion. Ghostel is better than vterm. I think Ghostel would be better than vterm because it's using the Ghost library. Library? Good God. I have been using AI too much. I can't think anymore. Updated the progress log. The placeholder is gone. Replaced with 2 entries. Summer Emacs is convinced I'm murdering system crafters. For the record, it's not dead. It's the legacy Emacs and Guix channel now. The live building just moves here. Tell Claude, Ashra says Summer Emacs is right. It's not dead. It's still there. It's just sleeping, okay? It's just sleeping. We're not going to murder someone who's sleeping. I better not say that on a YouTube channel, right? Okay. So, should we do something? Should I stop talking? And should we do something? What should I do? Out of all the things I mentioned right now, what should I do? There's another thing I didn't mention that I should mention. Whoa, oh, it's the wrong org. Let's do this, Sigil. There it is. Got a little Claude plugin here for the orchestration that I do. But I need to build Courier and Minder, so I probably need to get a little Claude up on that while we're waiting. So projects code, Sigil, Claude. Summer Emacs is once again mogging everyone. Is that the right term? Is that what the Zoomers say on TikTok? Mogging. She's mogging everyone by saying that she's going down to a party with cocktails downstairs in her huge mansion that she lives in a Mediterranean country. I'm not going to dox her too much. End of another era. Ashra says, thanks for the hug, Summer Emacs. I need one after hearing that System Crafters is dead. Give me a break. Something else that AI has killed. AI didn't do this. I did, okay? Claude did not tell me to start streaming on Flux Harmonic. I did, okay? I'm in control here. I can stop anytime that I want, okay? I'm not addicted. I don't have AI psychosis, okay? You believe me, right? Auntie says, you asked about AI content for a while, now it's taking over. Yeah. Left Hand says, look at David's eyes. There's no spark anymore. That's a lie, dude. Come on. There are other reasons for that. Hotels have bars and lobbies with bars. You've been to hotels. No, I've not. I just sit here all the time, right? Or I'm on a fishing boat. You don't live in a hotel? Do you live in the Overlook Hotel? You might go a little bit crazy there. That's the name of it, right? Anyway, pull Courier and Minder. Do we need Minder? Not really for this. And build them with from depths. Left Pad says there are other reasons for that. How much will you pay us to keep everyone? What, the fact that I said that, you know, having kids makes your eyes glaze over? You can tell her, I don't care. All right. World work and no play makes Summer Emacs a dull girl. Yeah, let's not put any fire axes near Summer Emacs, okay? No axes for Summer Emacs. Kind of rhymes a little bit. Emacs users are immune to AI psychosis anyways. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's true. I don't really know what AI psychosis really is, you know? Like, there's no, what is the psychologist thing, the DSM-5? There's no DSM-5 for AI psychosis yet. There's no diagnostic for AI psychosis. So what is it? Left pad, put the axe away, please. We don't need that help. See you, Summer. A fire axe rich environment. That's true. It's either fire axes or fire hoses. All right. Let's let it do its job here then. That's too many axes. Too many, all right? Summer Emacs, you're murdering System Crafters a bit, yes. Deppy says, I'm fairly sure I'm infected regardless of how grounded I try to remain. I mean, I think that many of us are, you know, grappling with the reality of using AI too much. And I've gone a little bit overboard, I think. All right, so what is it that's going to make this new series of streams work? Okay, what part of the tools do we need for this? Obviously, we need the agent orchestration bit. I don't know if I'm going to end up porting Claude Ops over to this repo to do a more streamlined form of it, or if I'm going to use Claude Ops directly. Claude Ops basically is just like a set of scripts and kind of like files that are used as prompts for Claude to do the multi-Claude setup that I do. At some point, I might need to look into using sub-agents in the main Claude session, because it is now possible to jump into a sub-agent, which wasn't possible before. Ashra said, had to reload the stream. Got a commercial that had video game axe attack the player's keyboard. What the hell? So the orchestration part is necessary to do multiple things at the same time, okay? That's for sure. What else do we need to work on? What would be useful for the stream right now? Well, I mean, working on motif would be interesting, because eventually I want to make a sequencer that can actually write music in a UI and not have to do it in code, because, you know, writing music in code can be fun, but it's not really the best way, I think, to like compose something, in my opinion. Like a tracker style interface would probably be the best way to do that, or a better way, let's say, than try to write it in code. So I'm gonna try to make a tracker style interface for motif, and then make some songs out of it. What else? I mean, because as you hear right now, you probably noticed, if you have listened to System Crafter streams forever, this is the same songs from System Crafters. Normally I don't play these songs on Flux Harmonic streams, but I don't have anything else to play right now. I would like to make some music to play. Maybe even dynamically generated and evolving music over time. We'll see. What else? I mean, working on some of the other tools like easel or montage could be interesting. Like, what would we do if we wanted to download the recording of an old stream and like cut it up a little bit to make a YouTube short or a video? One thing I had been working on actually is, oh, Nullbass says, have you ever used Renoise? It has some amazing features for a tracker. It might get some inspiration. Renoise is cool. I haven't used it that much. But it does look like the best one of the sort of modern tracker style interfaces. I've watched some videos about it. It's pretty cool. Def B says, Homo Iconic, music as code underneath, DAW on top. That would be cool. I mean, if you could use the tracker to compose the track, but then it shows you the underlying code that plays the composition. I mean, really what you would end up with is just a model for storing the composition as code, and then when you load it up, it is data, and then it just gets played and edited with the tracker. But I think editing hand-authored code would not work so well. So I don't really know if that's going to be something that we could do in a fully round-trippable fashion, let's say. I don't even really know if that's something that should be a goal, to be honest. But it is an interesting idea. Okay. Where are you at now? All right, it's still compiling. So if we want to start building some stuff, I mean, easel is one good thing to look into. Easel is the one for generating thumbnails or other images. I mean, that would be pretty useful. Working on Livecrafter would make some sense. Let's see. Things to work on soon. Easel for generating thumbnails and graphics. Montage for editing video clips. What's the plan, says Benoit? Well, we're basically just going to start doing Flux Harmonic streams now. And, you know, it's going to be more fun, at least for me. Hopefully for you too, but it's going to be more fun because I like building things. And there's a lot to build, so, you know, we'll see what happens. So easel and montage, motif, at least the tracker interface for making songs for the streams. I mean, I'm serious when I say this is sort of a recursive effort here. We are working on the tools that are going to be used to improve the quality of the streams going forward. That's always been the plan, even back at the beginning of Flux Harmonic. I wanted to build tools I would use for streams or for content creation, you know, editing videos or, you know, generating thumbnail images, etc. And now, you know, it's just gotten a lot easier to do that because AI can help with a lot of the heavy lifting on making these tools. Live Crafter, adding more interactivity. Left pad, would you stop it with the Z algo crap? Thank you. Let's just tickle the Z algo. Tickle, 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 tickle. Random tickling, you know? I'm sure somebody knows what I mean. We be building. That was more than expected. Yes, you really made a mess here, Ashraz. I mean, left pad. So thank you for that. Thank you for that artistic contribution to the stream. Fulfilling Summer Emacs wish for break in the chat. I think it looked kind of nice. It didn't break the stream, which is a good thing. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm surprised that Sigil didn't choke on that. That means the UTF-8 handling is doing pretty well, I think, right? You got to put all the weird... Okay, I should have said that because now you're going to go through the entire Unicode set and try to figure out a way to make Live Crafter choke. I guess we'll be fixing bugs in the stream. So, adding more interactivity to the streams. Let's see, what else? Enclave. Finishing the PWA port to Sigil Wasm. Invalid UTF-8 is easy. Don't do it. Don't do it. Benoit says, I'm watching you, Left Pad. Thank you, Benoit, for trying to keep the peace in the live stream chat. Finishing the PWA port to Sigil Wasm. Sigil Wasm. And eventually hosting a server for the stream, chats, and community. We need to think of a cool domain. Benoit says, at to fix another injection problem now. Yes, it's a completely different code base this time too than the last one that you had to fix that in. Game stuff too, but I think that at least at first, working more on the tools is going to be more fun. So maybe we'll do a little bit of tool work first, just kind of get things figured out, get the model figured out a little bit better, and then we'll start on game stuff a little bit later. The annual game off, okay. Whoa, what just happened? Okay, there was a momentary stream blip that I just noticed, but it reconnected, thank God. Let me know if the stream is still up. All right, so last year was in November. We might be able to do that. It really depends on whether they allow AI contributions. Yeah, so I'm on Wi-Fi for my fiber internet, and I'm very far away from the access point, and I think that it might eventually bite us. It hasn't yet. I don't want to say too much about it. You didn't do that, Left Pad. You can't take credit for that. Okay. Anyway, game jams. Definitely later. We will do that. So, fiber over Wi-Fi, that's new. Well, dude, if you saw how my house is laid out and where I'm at, ain't no way fiber's getting up here, okay? This is like the 4th floor of a narrow townhome type situation. Ain't no fiber getting up here, only Wi-Fi. And the copper wiring in the house is not good enough to do gigabit. Streaming on Wi-Fi, far from the access point. Why not juggle nitroglycerin on a slack wire? Don't you know me by now? Don't you know that I do everything wrong, but somehow it still works? At least I don't do Geeks Pull for the streams anymore. In fact, I don't know how long it's been. I probably haven't pulled in like 4 months. At least. Because why do I need to? Everything works. Pass cables outside the house like we did at uni. That doesn't work so well either. All right. Courier build a stool running, sure. Whatever. Between floors, it could work. But it also is quite unsightly, and I don't think my neighbors would appreciate that too much. So, interactivity could be an interesting aspect of the streams. You know, like people voting on things that I do, influencing the direction of what I work on, maybe even injecting prompts into Claude which would be a really stupid thing to do, but it would be interesting, I think. So stream interactivity could be a useful thing to try. So messing with, make it look like a vine. I'm just gonna paint it green and attach some fake leaves to it to make it like a vine. Maybe they won't notice. Hey, Osloy. But I think the pairing of Livecraft and Enclave could be pretty interesting for stream integrations. And we've already got all the basis for the stuff here. What else? I guess if I were to say what would be the most interesting in the short term, it would be motif and maybe montage. I need to get audio working from the computer that you're looking at and the computer that I run the stream from. I need to like reroute the audio somehow. So that will work. But that shouldn't be too hard. Peter says, I think making the dev flow transparent more than the usual Claude animation could be engaging. That's what I'm going to do. So we're not going to be sitting here staring at Claude the whole time. We're going to be getting our hands dirty and also kind of working on multiple things at the same time so that we're not just waiting on Claude to come back the entire time. Or make it like a snake to keep people away. That's a great idea, actually. Just make the whole Ethernet cord that's snaking up the wall look like a snake. What, Ashraz? What are we thinky facing? What are we thinky facing? Satellite internet. Wrong kill ring item. I don't believe you. Check it. So what we're waiting on now is for Courier to be built so that we could possibly try to port the Claude ops. Maybe I'll just ask Claude about that. Okay. So do I have Claude ops pulled up here somewhere? Let me check my ops folder. Claude ops. Yep. And probably this is way out of date. Sigil Laura stack from when the copper wires break. Can you explain to me what that is? Because I have no idea what that is. This is from April. I'm pretty sure I've made some commits to that since then. Do remote and show the... No. You're not seeing me do that. Push the latest Claude ops changes to the remote commit if necessary. Yes, I'm talking to Claude on another machine right now to get it to push my repository changes. If it does it, I'll probably have to unlock my keyring. Long range wireless, extremely low bandwidth to optimize range. That sounds cool. Trev says, I literally waited for Peter to write that. Who needs Claude? Shout at the sky and listen to it for response. I used to shout in my neighborhood and wait to see if any kids responded to me whenever I was like 10 years old. That's because I lived too far from people and like, there was no kids that were in walking distance from my house. But I knew that some kids lived like way in the distance around in the area. So I would just yell, see if they could hear me. Nobody ever replied. That's what it's like growing up in the rural southeastern United States. You're just outside yelling at the sky, hoping that somebody hears you and decides to alleviate your boredom. And then you go and spray paint things for fun. I didn't do that. Nobody can prove it. Let's see. All right, Courier build finished successfully. We got Courier and Miner both compiled. Man, 12, 16 megabytes, that's too big. Left pad, it says, isn't screaming to the sky a good description for streaming? Well, I'm not screaming. I'm no Primogen, you know. Who else does some screaming? or yelling. We need more irate programming streamers, I think. It won't be me, because I don't have that in me, okay? I can yell, but I'm more of a sarcastic, dry humor, self-deprecation type streamer. I'm not really a yelling, high drama activity type streamer. Just not me. Rev says, Daddy is upstairs listening to his imaginary friends again. You mean me? I am, that's true. They probably just hear me down there talking and they're like, what the hell's going on with this guy? So we got the courier pulled up, and what I was gonna do is ask Claude about this once this got pushed. Patting himself to make sure. Who? All right, so just to show you that I'm not a complete zero, I'm gonna pull, not push, I'm gonna pull Claude ops here, origin. There we go. See, I remember how to use Magic, all right? Okay, I'm not completely brain damaged. I know how to use Emacs, people. PewDiePie yells a lot and is a programming YouTuber now, sort of. Yeah, he's sort of a programming YouTuber. But he's like the classic yelling streamer, right? Trev says, don't worry, I got the joke. You have to explain it to me. All right, so we got record sigil derivation, store cache key, follow up. Say what? Oh, that's the ops repo. Okay, wrong place. We're gonna go into Claude ops and whoopsie. Yes. Remote host. What just happened? Did Sigil? Left pad. What you doing, man? That's a weird chat bug. Yes, it is a weird chat bug. You better stop that. Glyneth happened to leave right at the same time, and I think it misinterpreted the next thing that happened in the chat. I'm trying to make sure that it hasn't crashed. No, it's still good. Error handling, people. Gotta have error handling. Okay, so I got it. Work along should make agents cover from temp workspace. Default to Opus 4.8. Okay, that does sound right. Okay, so we need to set up an agent orchestration system like ops, Claude ops, for this repository. Hope we write some Rust. No, we're not gonna do that. I don't like Rust, dude. People love Rust. I just don't like it. I don't care for it, okay? So, Claude ops for this repo. I feel like there's a lot of jokes in the chat that I'm not getting, so I'm just gonna ignore them. Rust is the LLM language? I don't know. I mean, I can see why people would think that. Like Claude for this repo, but in a more focused way. We only really need Folio and Courier so that we need Folio. We only need Folio and Courier so that to facilitate the agent coordination. We can probably also keep the leader worker instructions simpler. The goal is to have this leader session be able to spawn agents on different tasks across a set of Sigil projects. All right, let's see what it tells us as a result of that. While that's going on, another thing I would like to do in the streams is review the Sigil codebase. Starting with the core, And then going out to the more interesting ecosystem libraries like SXML, HTTP, JSON, etc. Why? Well, because I haven't actually reviewed the code myself. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces here and there as it was being created, but I haven't actually sat down and like looked at the code to see if I actually agree with how it has been written. There's going to be a lot of very freaky looking stuff in there because LLMs have a tendency, or specifically like Claude has a tendency to write the most literal form of an algorithm in scheme possible to accomplish a goal, which actually is not a bad thing because those are often easier to optimize for the compiler to optimize. But hey Braxton, I have not tried to Ultra Scroll, and I'm not going to be using Meow again. Raymond says, what laptops are you using now? I'm using the Framework 13 as my primary laptop, which I'm quite happy with. Let's see. Yes, so reviewing the Sigil code base, checking the patterns that are being used, maybe seeing if there's a way that we can improve the quality of the LLM generated code that's being put into the code base. Oslo says, do you mostly use Claude or you switch between them? I use Claude mostly. I also use Codex with ChatGPT 5.5, GPT 5.5. I liked it a lot. It did a lot of really good work, but something about it is weird to me. It tends to get really like a little bit too detailed with how it approaches things, and it wants to keep like stopping all the time. Like, okay, I finished this slice. I don't want to go further. Like, it doesn't want to like take bigger chunks of work at the same time. But maybe I'm supposed to be using goal for that or some of the other slash commands. But I don't know. Codex is pretty good. What the heck is Sigmax? There ain't no such thing. Until Trev makes it. Because Trev is going to go and make all the tools that people are asking me about. What skills do you have enabled? Let's see what happens here. Does the stream come back? Oh, it came back. I think the stream is rehydrating now. God. All right, I gotta fix this issue. That was worse that time. I watched it in the OBS, like it completely blanked out. And then it took maybe 10 seconds for it to reconnect. Now it seems fine. Sorry for that. At least it didn't shut down the stream, okay? If it shut down the stream, I'd be pissed. There's always a possibility that YouTube would just decide to end the stream because of the outage. DefB says, I also use ChatGPT Pro and notice the same thing. Baby steps and extra detail that isn't quite theater, but isn't quite as helpful as it imagines. Yeah, I agree with that. Ponytail? What are we talking about? Okay, so that one is... I started using this new full screen mode of Claude, where it's supposed to do better rendering. I mean, it literally just told me to use it today, so I don't know how good it is, but we're gonna find out, I guess. I need to fix the word wrapping on the chat overlay. Let me actually add that to the notes. Line wrapping on the stream overlay causes text to be truncated at the right edge of the screen. Not cool. I don't like that. All right, we're still waiting on that. So yes, what was I saying? review the Sigil code base. We'll get to that. Not today, because we only got about 15 minutes left, but it will be interesting. But yeah, the sort of the live coding part, assessing the current state of human-centric interactive development in Sigil. Because Trev told me it wasn't so good. I believe that, because I haven't really done it in a while. We do have an Emacs package for Sigil, and we have the REPL of Sigil itself. There's an in-REPL implementation, which makes it have a better integration into the editor while you are writing code. But it has been a while since I've used it, so I don't really know exactly how good it's going to be. So if you want to take a look at that, we can go to the code, projects code, Sigil folder, and there is an editor subfolder in here, Emacs, and there's sigil.el, and if you just load that up into Emacs, you will have a Sigil editing mode. It needs to be updated too, though. Like, now that I think about it, there's some things that need to be added to that. I'll go back to the notes. Other improvements to make. Add new syntax support to sigil.el, like dicts and arrays, because we don't highlight that currently. Syntax highlighting support, let's say. Also need, what is it? The ability to select SX style groupings of these data structures. Okay. Need that. I am thinking a little bit about live coding, though. Like, I kind of miss it. Like, actually writing code, okay? At home and at my job, I am not actually writing code, okay? Like, the LLMs are doing that, and I kind of miss it, so I want to do some myself. But that means I need to make Sigil friendly to humans. Ashra says, I'm not really running into token troubles. I've only used 50% of my assigned budget this month, whereas other colleagues have used 210%. Well, I know that you're not the biggest fan of LLMs, Ashraz. That's probably why. And it's totally fine not to be a fan of LLMs, by the way. All right, so we got some things on the list here, I think. Worker launcher, cool. So we are making some progress here. We have .env, courier bin, folio bin, relay directory. Yeah. Whoa, why don't we got this folder here? Why can't we put that somewhere else? This is not bad, though. I'm okay with that. That's not fine. I want this to be release mode. Oh, it's an example. Okay, got it. MCP wrapper. I don't like the ops folder for that. I'll have to get it to move some things. Launch worker, okay. Yes, there's always additional stuff that needs manual review. You mean like all the PRs your coworkers send that have been written by LLMs? But I think that's like short term. Need to try this out and see how well it works. Maybe what we need. We need some kind of from scratch by hand project to validate whether Sigil actually can be written by humans. I'm not sure what that would be yet. It would be interesting to try to write something a little bit more advanced. I mean, one thing that always comes up in my mind is like a mud, but like a web mud, where and if you don't know what a mud is, it's a multi-user dungeon. It's basically like if you wanted to play an MMO back in 1992, really the best option you had was to telnet into a server and then type commands in, almost like you're playing Zork. But then there's other people there too, so that's basically what a mud is. Nullbat says a Sigil game jam eventually would be fun. Yeah, I really do want to do something like that. I keep saying I want to do like a game jam hackathon type thing, and it just never materializes because I get distracted and I forget to do things. Muds are amazing. They are amazing. I think it actually would be kind of fun for the community to work on a mud together, like the actual content. It would probably be shocking at the same time because people are going to be adding some weird stuff in there probably, but maybe that's not such a bad thing, you know? Ashra says, just had the chat be in a mud. That's not a bad idea. And there may be something we could do along those lines. But then, like, how would you walk between rooms in the mud? Or what if there's actually a crafter pub in the MMO world where you actually have to go there to watch the stream together? That's the live chat. You actually have to go into the location in the world to do the stream chat. That would be pretty funny. Nullbat says, aren't mushes like that where users expand and write rooms while playing? Yeah, that would be something I would like to do. Not sure how easy it would be. I mean, you just have to make it robust and not like easy to crash the game. If you don't call the pub key, I would be disappointed. Why? Pub key? Oops. The public key? Maybe a mud? Or the web? All right. I like that idea. We might be able to play with that too a little bit. And that would exercise a few different things. I would probably just use Sigil Web for that. Sigil Web is a web framework for Sigil, which takes some inspiration from Datastar. Ted and Mike, were you chipmunking the entire thing? Poor guy. GS Volt says, for existing Vimmers, perhaps you can teach how to use Emacs or Doom Emacs. Nah, I probably won't be doing that. Final task, give ideas. It's probably the one I do the most on the side. I'm very sorry that SCS chat has to copy messages again. I made some changes to Livecrafter today, and I think it broke things. Tenemach says, I have to say, I personally like to pivot to Flux topics from somewhat random SC that was happening for the last 6 months. Yeah, like that's the point. Like I just didn't have enough to say about system crafters type topics that I was kind of just, you know, trying really hard to find anything worth talking about, and it didn't pan out after a while. So I'd rather just build stuff and have some fun with that. I think that we can have a lot of fun here, actually. Better use of our time. All right, we've got 5 minutes left. SES Final says, don't worry about it. It's probably the last final time. We shouldn't have to worry about it, but I appreciate all the things that you've done over the years to copy the messages in the chat and everything else too. Denamot says, already ideas coming to try with Motif, integrate with MIDI, Touch OSC. Yeah, that would be cool. Definitely would be cool. Okay, so I don't know. I've got some things that I would like to do in the short term here. Maybe design the new FH stream thumbnail format. Monetize for editing video clips, perhaps to create shorts or summary videos. David the Builder. Bob the Builder. Thought he was a fisherman. I'm not a fisherman. Never have been. Hello to Leonix. Hope you're using the new Markdown TS mode on Emacs. Probably not. Everybody's congratulating Leonix on his article, because I think it got spread around quite a lot. I think that's awesome, actually. All right. That's enough, right? Leonix. Do you pronounce your name Leonix? 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 Is it like Linux? Linux? I don't know, man. I'm doing the best I can here. Jeswell says, I know you're into free software a lot. Lie on Unix. Do you think there will come a day when there will be some free software people can use for streaming online? What do you mean streaming online? Perhaps in a distributed manner. Like, you mean like streaming like this kind of stream? Or you mean streaming video? Because there are things for those. What else? Including infrastructure, not only local application. What? Oh, is that the part of the message? Instead of Twitch, well, it is already possible. There are two things right now. There is PeerTube, which has streaming. You can stream with PeerTube. I've never used it for that before, but you can do that. There's also Nginx, which has an RTMP module where I believe that people can connect to the stream. Well, okay. With RTMP, at least, you can stream to the server. Though I'm not entirely sure if someone can consume that directly. FFmpeg can do video streaming. Yeah, it restreams it. Servers which can receive from FFmpeg to restream to multiple clients include FF server, blah, blah, blah. So, like, there's already stuff that you could use all this for. The issue is the bandwidth, outgoing bandwidth. Well, it depends on how many viewers you have. I mean, it probably is not that bad. I've thought about, like, setting up my own streaming server before, but I don't know, man. Liunix. But using O instead of U, whatever. Liunix. I'm just gonna keep on saying Leonix, even though it's obviously wrong. And I've been saying your name for how many years now? 2 years, 3 years, and I just thought today, maybe it's not the way I'm saying it. These are the types of thoughts that I have when I'm sitting idle at my computer during the day, among other things. Just say Trav. Trev. How do you say that letter, okay? Trev, I think you need to rename yourself, obviously. Okay, so, we've got 2 minutes left. What do people think? What do you think? Yes, I know, Summer Emacs is accusing me of murdering system crafters, but Leonix says, your way of saying it is a canonical way. Don't bother. Okay, thank you. Thank you for validating my incorrect way of pronouncing it. Now everyone knows. So what do you think? I mean, you think this is a good idea? You think we're gonna have fun with this? Is it gonna be better than me just bumbling around, like trying my best to come up with some half-assed idea for System Crafter streams every Friday? Or we have more fun trying to make something, okay? I think we'll have more fun, but that's just me. Leonix says, love the background, Sigil generated. No, this is something I made with Inkscape or GIMP some time ago. It wasn't generated. I don't know how I made it, to be honest. I don't know what I did. I think it was just like some Perlin noise and some filters on top. Who knows? I just had some ideas and I went and tried to make it and I made it. I think it's a little bit too busy though. I need to do some work on that. GSFL says, System Crafters, no more Friday System Crafter streams. There will be Flux Harmonic streams from now on. I will repeat myself. Looks like bugs. It does kind of look like bugs. So this is the last Friday stream that will be on the System Crafters channel, okay? If you want to see the streams going forward, you will have to be subscribed to the Flux Harmonic live channel, okay? It would defeat the purpose to do Flux Harmonic streams on the System Crafters channel. So we're going to be moving the streams. I will be posting community posts on Fridays to remind people the streams are on this channel now. I hope the same people still show up. People who generally show up to these streams are the ones who've been showing up for years, and they know when the stream is, and they also know where to find me, so they will know that the stream is happening. But for all the other people who occasionally drop in, they will probably be confused, so I'll have to find a way to let people know. Noelbath says, I love it. I've been doing a very similar thing for my own ecosystem. Now is a great time to build your own creative tools. Yes, it is. It is a great time to do it because LLMs make things more tractable to do it yourself. And that's what I'm focused on. It's trying to do things myself because I like it. I mean, you can say you're not doing it yourself if you're using an LLM to write the code, but still, I mean, I'm the one making the decisions here, okay? Let me cope in my own way. Let me cope, all right? Let me convince myself that I'm still being creative and doing things myself. Okay, so that's the story. One other thing I need to do is make sure that the website gets updated with the show notes after each stream. That will be done too, probably next week. But until then, you'll just have to wait and see the results of what we did. Thank you, Ashraz, for creating the forum post for that. We'll see if we continue creating forum posts for these things in the future. All right. Well, thank you all, everyone. Thank you all, everyone, for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention, as usual. Hope you all have a great weekend. And until next time, happy hacking. We'll see you.